This is amazing. First, I planned for retirement, and there comes coronavirus. Now, coronavirus is going away. Guess what's coming up? Ukraine. Does this affect my retirement? That's what we'll talk about. I was really thankful that the result of this coronavirus, which is catastrophic, you were not able to go freely to the Philippines, our country. And it's so disgusting and it's so disappointing. What happened? Now, it's not even done yet, but it's about to be done. It's supposed to go away pretty soon. What comes next? Ukraine. How does this affect my plans for retirement? First of all, before we even think about our retirement, let's think about how bad the situation is in Ukraine. I pity the poor Ukrainians. They're really a very strong ethnic group who really stands for freedom. And a lot of you Filipinos think about freedom as not being important. You are more concerned about coronavirus than you are with freedom. I'll tell you what, losing your freedom is worse than coronavirus. Worse than coronavirus. And the Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom. And they're having difficulty getting assistance from NATO and the United States. For understandable reason. Whether it is really understandable or not remains to be seen. Maybe decisions being made today are the right decision. Maybe decisions being made today are the wrong decisions. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you what. If Ukraine falls in the hands of Russia, Russia will feel strengthened that they can invade more. So we may not be able to avoid World War III. Third World War. Are we already there? I think we are in the shadows of it. We don't want this no-fly zone because we don't want to get involved, because this does not want to get expanded. True. And that's a good reason not to do it. But the concern I have is, what if Russia succeeds? What do you think they will do? I don't need to say it, but that could happen. Now, going back to my retirement. Obviously, if war breaks out, I would feel more comfortable being in the United States. But then, Philippines probably is not going to be invaded by Russia. But somebody is watching. And that is China. China is just watching and eventually could invade Taiwan. Now, what does that have to do with the Philippines, you might ask? Well, Philippines, what are they going to get from the Philippines? Coconuts and bananas? We don't have much to offer, right? Except one thing. Philippines is a strategic location, and that is the reason why the United States will not want to give up the Philippines. And that's also the reason why I feel China will be interested in the Philippines. By the way, when I say China, don't get offended. I'm not talking about the Chinese people, because I love the Chinese people. I have been to China. I love China. It's the CCP. Chinese Communist Party. That is who I'm talking about when I mention China. So, these variables are playing in my head, and I said, gee, I wonder what I'm going to do. I don't have too many years left in my life. So I say to myself, well, should I just go ahead and take the risk? I might do that. But I know one thing for sure. I'm not going to stay long in the Philippines. And I will probably use Philippines as just my vacation home. In terms of retirement, will I retire in the Philippines? That remains to be seen. Because even though I'm going back to the Philippines to enjoy my retirement. I could always come back to the US. I hope there will be enough time for me to come back here. I'm really more concerned about my children and grandchildren because they will be the one to face up to this. So, does it affect my plans to retire in the Philippines? Not at this point, but I'm thinking of things that I was not even thinking of at the time I made the decision to retire in the Philippines. Things have changed drastically, 100%, 180 degrees. I was not thinking of these things. I was not thinking of coronavirus when I said I'm going to retire in the Philippines, and I was looking forward to it. Now, am I still looking forward to it? Yes, I do. But I'll probably go, come back, go and come back, rather than go, stay there for a long time, then come back here and visit periodically. That is where my head is at this point. So I'm giving it time. I don't have to make a decision right away. I'm just giving it time. So for those of you who are saying, gee, let's not talk about coronavirus, let's not talk about Ukraine because this is political thing. No, it's your life. It's your life. So please do include a comment down below and see what you think about it. I'd like to hear what you think. But I'm still in this retirement path, but I am faced with these obstacles. It is what it is. Now, there is one good news I'd like to share with you that I saw in Gravitas. Let's take a look at it.
Some are gradually realizing the pitfalls of partnering with China. Tonight, we are focusing on one such country, the Philippines. It's a very important country in the Pacific, close to Taiwan, bound by the South China Sea and fed up with Beijing's bullying. So it's a perfect combination, the Philippines. Recently, the Philippine Senate announced a major decision. It deferred the ratification of RCEP. That is short for the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, called RCEP. Now, the RCEP is basically a mega free trade deal. Broadly speaking, it includes two groups. One is the ASEAN, and two, ASEAN's free trade partners, which includes the likes of India, Japan, China, and Australia. That's around 16 nations in all. Put together, they make up 1/3 of the global GDP. The idea was to build on this, to create an integrated free market between these 16 nations. I know it sounds like a good plan, but as always, there's just one problem. And that problem is called China. Beijing wants to use the RCEP to flood foreign markets to counter US influence in the Pacific. So India walked out of this deal. And something similar is happening in the Philippines. A, they're worried about China spreading its tentacles, and B, their farmers and businesses are protesting. So the Senate has decided to defer the ratification. Now, nobody knows what will happen next. Maybe the protests will be resolved, or maybe the Philippines will leave RCEP. Either way, the larger picture cannot be ignored. The Philippines is moving further away from China. Wait, if the Philippines abandons China, who will fill this gap? The alliance of democracies must step up. Groups like the Quad must create effective alternatives to China. If not, the movement against Beijing will remain wavering.
Well, that's a little bit of good news, but it's not guaranteed because Philippines just decided to defer the decision. Are they going to walk away from it? Are they going to join? We don't know. But at least they did not join right away. There are some second thoughts going on. As you know, we are getting very close to China. There are some politicians who are so close to China. That administration is now going to go away. What are they going to be replaced with? We don't know. But at least Senate, Congress, they're together in saying, let us wait before we make a decision. So that's a little bit of good news, but another news I'm trying to follow up on. So this is what potentially could affect my retirement, something that never existed when I planned to retire in the Philippines. Please do share this with others. I'll appreciate it if you click like, and please do subscribe to my channel unless you have already done so. Thank you very much. Make it a great day, and God bless.